Let's talk about earnest money. If you are buying a home here in Tennessee, this is probably one of the most misunderstood parts of the process. Put simply, earnest money is your way of saying, I'm serious about buying this house. But it's also going to come with some risks and some strategies. So let's talk about both of those. Earnest money is a deposit that you're going to make once your offer has been accepted by the seller. People think, well, usually earnest money is going to be this. Earnest money is going to be dependent on the purchase price of the house. Sometimes it's going to be dependent on the type of financing that a buyer is doing. If they are buying a $250,000 house and they're doing a VA loan with zero down payment, they may not have $2,500 to put down for earnest money. They may only have that $500 earnest money deposit. So there's no set amount that you're going to deposit. That's going to be a decision that you make, you discuss with your buyer's agent. You're going to write it up, and the seller may ask you for more earnest money. It's a way to show the seller that you're committed, and it gives them peace of mind that you're not going to walk away when you put more earnest money down. If the deal closes, then your earnest money gets applied towards your closing costs, your down payment. But if the deal falls apart, whether you get that money back or not is going to depend on why the deal fell apart. Now, here in Tennessee, we don't have option money. I know a lot of states do have option money, and I have had sellers who have sold houses in other states that did have option money, and they are just like bumfuzzled as to why Tennessee does not have that. Because it is very frustrating for a seller to accept an offer from a buyer. They're taking their home off the market. They're letting the buyer do the inspections, gets the financing started, and then the deal falls apart because of inspection. Maybe the buyer is being unrealistic in what they're wanting from that inspection report to be fixed. So if you're in a state that has option money, the option money goes directly to the seller at the time of the contract. It doesn't matter why the buyer terminates, the option money stays with the seller. Earnest money is typically going to be paid to the buyer agent realty company. They hold it in an escrow account until the closing. So if you back out of a contract because of a contingency, such as the inspection contingency, the appraisal contingency, financing contingency, your earnest money will be returned to you. The seller does not get any kind of compensation for having their home off the market. So that is a frustrating part for a seller when they accept an offer from a buyer and then the deal falls apart. They're not getting compensated for the time off the market. Now, the key when you write in contingencies on your contract is those contingencies all have deadlines. There's a deadline for you to get your inspection done and request repairs. There's going to be a deadline for you to have applied for your financing and get that working. There's a deadline for that appraisal to be done. So if you exceed the timeline for those contingencies and you decide to walk, you're probably not going to get your earnest money back. So let's talk how you can use earnest money as a strategy. If you're a buyer and you know there's a multiple offer situation on a particular home, you may want to offer more earnest money than is typical for that situation. So for example, on the $250,000 house, you may want to offer $5,000 as earnest money. And you may want to make part of that earnest money non-refundable. What does that mean? That means the seller is going to keep that portion of the earnest money regardless of what happens. So if you write an offer on a house, you say, I'll put $5,000 earnest money and I'll make $2,500 of it non-refundable. Seller can keep it no matter if I back out over inspection, financing, appraisal, whatever. That's going to make your offer stand out above other offers because the seller is guaranteed some kind of compensation if you back out of that contract. Now, that doesn't happen very often, but I have had situations where buyers offered to make part of the earnest money non-refundable, and that ended up winning them the house. And luckily, we went on to close the house. So you need to just understand what earnest money is, what its purpose is, and how you can get it back. If you're a buyer, that's going to be important to you. And you need how to learn to understand the rules of writing an offer and putting earnest money that is non-refundable into it. If you're looking for an agent who can help you with your earnest money, with writing competitive offers, send me a DM. We would love to help you find your next home.